Thank you. Thank you. First of all, wanted to thank everyone for coming today. Like he said, my name's Izzy. I actually grew up down the road. I grew up in Huntley, Illinois. Back when, like Alex said, there was an outlet mall there. So we had some good times in the food court and everything like that. But so I am the Chief Operating Officer of Urban Misfit Ventures, a Milwaukee area company. Quickly though, wanted to introduce myself. Again, my name's Izzy, short for Israel Lugo III. I am, at a young age, I started in not so humble beginnings. My grandparents and my parents all lived in one house. My grandfather and my dad were all the same, or had the same names. So from a young age, I started with Izzy, and ever since I was little, I said I was going to change my name to Izzy, everything like that. Up until probably 2 years ago, I realized that it was very important to my family to stay with the name. The number one thing, we've had exponential growth, and we'll talk about that, but the number one thing for me in my life is family. Basically, my family pushed me to go to school. I'm the second person in either side of my family to even graduate from college. And school from a young age was never my thing. And I needed to do a whole bunch of internships throughout college to set myself apart from the guys that were getting A's and the girls that were getting A's in school, because ultimately I was getting C's and I was just your average kid. I started with a sports background, actually got a degree in sports management, which actually alluded to some of the clients that we have today, and was offered jobs in the NBA, the NFL, the AHL, and the MLB, and decided to stay in Milwaukee for the Bucks, for the renaissance that the city is going through. In that time, I developed an alter ego, which is MKE Foodie on Instagram. And that has opened up a number of doors on our Instagram page, or throughout our business, in the food and restaurant and service industry as a whole. I speak, and I'm a huge sneakerhead. I love shoes for whatever reason. I have more shoes than my girlfriend I'm currently living with, and my father as well. But to the business, Urban Misfit Ventures is a holding company for two companies. Two aspects of our business, which is IEEG, if you want to know what IEEG stands for, and ultimately the name, the story behind the name. There's one person that knows that can tell you, and he's sitting in the back corner with a hat on. And we also have the MKE Misfits, which is kind of our alter ego, but it is kind of an undercover events company as well. IEEG is a storytelling and video marketing company. It also acts as an influencer marketing company. What sets us apart from every other influencer marketing company in the world is that we act as the influencers. We have a following on all of our social media pages, whether that's LinkedIn, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and so on. So instead of me as a influencer marketing company, approaching McDonald's and saying, hey, we'll get all these people to post for you, and having to outsource that work, we do it ourselves, and at the end, we obviously keep the big chunk of money that we get. The companies that we work for, like I said, sports have been a big push for us in the beginning. The Milwaukee Admirals is one, so they are big rivals with your Rockford Ice Hogs. There's a new kind of push into the world of esports, and we decided, hey, we need to get into industries like this and grow with industries like this to be able to have a portfolio when esports blows up, or when the CBD industry blows up, or the marijuana industry. So we need to have that portfolio now rather than later, so that we can set ourselves apart from the competition later. So Bucks Gaming is one that is huge. The NBA has adopted every team has adopted an esports team, and the Bucks have been one, and we've been producing content for them. We're their official content team. Shaper is another big one that we've been working with, which is an app out of France, actually. It's essentially Tinder. You swipe left, you swipe right, but it's for business professionals. You want to go get coffee with someone. You want to go get a beer. You just want to overall like gain or grow your network. Shaper is that itself. Epidemic Sound's another big one. That company's out of Sweden. Moral Code, leather accessories. Highly recommend that if you guys want to check out their website. They're out of India. And then Northwestern Mutual we have collaborated with and run events for. So the MK Misfits, I mentioned that that's our alter ego. That's honestly, it's weird. I'm not one of the ones that likes attention or anything like that, but when we walk around the city together, there's people yelling out like, yo, that's a Misfits, or we're local celebrities, which is very weird to me. But a lot of people don't know that the Misfits, MK Misfits, in order to trademark it and to have a company, to be able to own it, we said, hey, let's make this something. And what is that something? We decided, hey, we're gonna make it an events and experiential marketing firm. What we do in that is that we basically connect creatives and professionals, obviously to collaborate, but then we also bring out the community of people that come to us and follow us so much that we sell out each of the events that we did. So we actually threw Milwaukee's first LinkedIn Local, and that 2 weeks before the event, we said, hey, we're gonna do this, expecting 50 people to show up. 200 people showed up, and it was, honestly, the profit margins, everything like that was just something we couldn't ignore. So we went to the events side of it. And then the number one thing in this is to have fun. No one goes to an event to be bored and sitting in the corner. Everybody wants to do something different. And there's a lot of events companies out there kind of just, okay, here's your happy hour, let's get together, let's network, blah, blah, blah. But we're trying to bring different events into Milwaukee that people may not have seen before. So throwing the pop-up shops, throwing the pop-up fashion shows, stuff like that, where you might honestly not think of something like this until you go to an LA, a New York, but why can't it be in a place like Milwaukee? Accomplishments this far, we're only 8 months old, honestly. We're close to tripling in size. If you count our office dog, we have officially tripled in size. And we were actually on the front page, I know it's a small picture, we were on the front page of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel when we first started, which has helped our growth so much. And then we have obviously one of Milwaukee's fastest growing startup with the growth. We have two members of the organization that was named Wisconsin Innovations 25 under 25, one being Q and then the other one being our creative director, Brema. And then we effectively have doubled our revenue each month that we've been in business. All right, so we'll get into some challenges that we've run into, age being one big one, community, the startup community in Milwaukee, and then talent is another huge one, which I think is the number one thing that we've run into. So we're growing so much. A lot of companies like the Northwestern Mutual, like the Bucks, and all these huge companies have been growing, but they can't retain people. So we've been putting a huge push on retention. How do we set ourselves apart from X company in order to make sure that our creative director stays and has fun while at work? So we're doing some different things in that. We're having people actually give, when they first jump on board, what's your passion, what are you passionate about? And we're actually taking that advice and taking what they're passionate about and looking for clients in those industries and stuff like that, so that when they come to work, they're having fun and they're doing something that they're passionate about. And at the end of the day, if you're having fun at work, it's not work. So we're doing some weird, quirky things like that have set us apart and been able to retain the contractors that we worked with in the beginning and the full-time staff that we're hiring right now. But then we're also, all these events that we're throwing, instead of waiting back and receiving resumes, which is great, we're going to the talent. So we're throwing Instagram events. We're throwing all these kind of video marketing networking events in order to put ourselves in front of professionals that may not have thought of working for the Misfits or collaborating with us, because over time, they get to do stuff that's fun for them, one. Two, they have a lot of fun just being able to do stuff that they're passionate about. So talent has been something huge for us. Another thing, we're a whole bunch of, our median age is 23, and we have 3 interns, and basically we're not taken seriously when we sit down. People, for whatever reason, age is something that sets us apart, but it's also something that pushes us to the ground. And what we're doing in that is kind of being able to push ourselves and letting our work talk for itself. And basically, the question that we get asked the most is, how old are you? How have you been able to do this? And are you just a 20-something just trying to be a C-suite? So that's been a huge challenge. And lastly, the startup community is very siloed in Milwaukee. Basically, there's probably 5 or 10 people that really run the startup community in Milwaukee, and we have not been able to tap into those 5 or 10 people. Very exclusive, and one of the things that we decided to do was, who supports those startup people and that main startup community, the Northwestern Mutuals, the Bucks, and those big companies, the BMO Harris Banks, and we tap into those people. So we've met with all those people, we've collaborated with all of them, and now the people that have been siloed and have siloed the startup community has now decided to realize, hey, this should be a community and not just me taking advantage of X or Y. So that and the Milwaukee area community has been amazing to us. I think, much like Rockford, Milwaukee's a misfit city. You decided, hey, I want to be in Rockford rather than I want to be in Chicago, I want to be in Madison, or I want to be in Minneapolis. Why is that? And a lot of people have that same kind of look into Milwaukee. And one of the things that we've been doing differently is embracing the Milwaukee heritage and kind of pushing the city up and influencing for the city at the end of the day. So first of all, just wanted to thank you guys for listening to me today. Second, if you guys have a Facebook, we have a group called House of Misfits. If you guys look that up on Facebook, go ahead and join that. It's a very supportive group of our following and then us as well, that if you have any questions about business, if you have questions honestly about personal issues, you post in there, and people are very supportive on just giving you advice and just really ultimately caring, which is something that you don't really get a lot on Facebook or in a Facebook group. So thank you guys so much, and let's drink